Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the SRE hosted practice session for the upcoming Adrenaline Impact V8 Supercar Challenge here in the wonderful Summit Point Raceway just north of Washington, D.C., in the wonderful eastern seaboard of the United States. Now, this week we'll be having a little bit of a special mix of cars. Not only will we have the wonderful four-door V8 supercars of a few years back, but we also have some modern cars out there running around on the track right now. Mohammed Mohamed right now in the Shell V-Power car, Ford Mustang, the first two-door V8 supercar that's been in the series for a very, very long time. Alongside that, we also have a more modern version of the Holden Commodore out there pounding away on the track. So far, that's your fastest man, Mohammed Mohaimin, followed by Saiful Arifin, who's in the pits right now, Shami Azri, Jezrin Jali, Malvin Ajit Singh, Afizul Azhar, Samir Muhammad, Rashid Raidel, Ilham Halabi, Azrael Azri, and also with Cheryl Norafuddin, Jasri Junus, Calvin Ha, and Muhammad Zafri. And I'm sure we'll find a few more drivers ready to head out there right now. Muhammad Zafri there just having a bit of a quick check. And that's the other one of the new cars, Melvin there driving the brand new, or the final, I should say, Holden Commodore, sold in Australia, based on the European Vauxhall Insignia, aka Buick Regal, aka several other cars there. It's sort of the last hurrah for the Holden brand, which has unfortunately now been discontinued, but still a very nice, mean-looking machine right there. But we've also got some of the older cars there, the old four-door Holden Commodore ahead of Melvin. There, that's Rashid Raidel in the old car. Now, the differences between the older cars and the newer cars: the older cars have a little bit more rear downforce and front and rear end downforce, if I say so myself, and also a little bit more sophistication has gone into the chassis and the suspension setup. Obviously, just applying experiences learned from the previous generation of cars. So these cars are theoretically just a little bit, not so much quicker, but easier to drive. We've had a few reports from some of the drivers down there in the host podcast room next door in the Discord server, reporting back that the newer cars are a little bit easier to drive compared to the old ones. They're also a little bit more stable. High-speed stability is definitely improved with the bigger aerodynamic package that these cars have. So we will BOP them before we start racing for real this Sunday. And for those of you who don't know, BOP means balance of performance, something that's used most commonly in GT racing, but it also happens in V8 supercar racing as well. And that's when we balance the performance of the cars. We give them more or less downforce or weight or horsepower, depending on what they need to be balanced on, just so that everyone has an even playing field, and it's all about the driver's abilities. But definitely the differences between the cars, handling-wise, will definitely play a part in the upcoming race, especially here around Summit Point, 3.2 kilometers long, very, very flowing bottom half of the track, and a very tight and twisty top half there. As you see, Mohammed Mohaimin, he's now done a 1:10.0 from 9:39. So we'll expect the quick guys to be getting into the low 1 minute 10-second bracket or even lower. And we see there Shami Azri out on track there. He's still driving the older version, or the older variant of Ford, in the Ford Falcon. Mohammed Mohaimin there in the Ford Mustang two-door. This is the Ford Falcon four-door, the older generation of car. So definitely still competitive. This isn't a case of the newer cars running away with it. They've balanced the performance in the main regulations quite well. They're quite tightly controlled. In fact, these cars share the same wheelbase, wheel track, weight distribution. And they also share the same floor plans, so it's a very, very competitive series indeed for these drivers to head into. And we've had quite a lot of fun in our V8 supercar racing here on Adrenaline Impact. Meanwhile, we also want to say a very big thank you to Setup Motorsports sponsoring our broadcast, along with SRE, Pico Motorsports, Simology, Interformula, C-Zone, and our latest sponsors you can see down there, Stream.mine. A very special welcome to the broadcast for those guys. Stream.mine specialize in cloud-based streaming services, so if you do want to check them out, the link will be there. And yeah, it's great to have Stream.my obviously help us out with the back end on the streaming side of things, as well as supporting what has turned out to be quite a popular event in the local iRacing sim racing scene. Looks to be quite a lot of fun indeed for all of these guys to go tearing around the track right now. We've got about 9 minutes left in the practice session. See Cypher Riffin in the older of the older Commodores. Like I said, the age of the car, the generation of the cars really don't matter too much around here, especially around Summit Point, as it seems to be a nice tight, short, and yet very flowing circuit. Really only 2 slow corners in the entire lap. The rest of it, well, 3 slow corners if you count the first turn, which is a bit of a corner that requires a bit of bravery. Saiful Arifin there has been with us for quite a while. He was one of our front runners in the MX-5 races that we've held earlier in the months. Earlier on during the MCO, we've seen him do very, very well indeed. He's been doing quite well in the V8 supercars, but unfortunately had just a little bit of trouble. More bad luck than anything else, and that may be the case still. Ooh, big jump there. Saiful decides to take the shortcut to the pits via the rallycross route. Ilham Halabi is one of our another one of our race winners. Very, very quick driver indeed. He's now in 4th position in the older Ford Falcon 4-door car. He's in the 111s. But it just goes to show that really all 4 of these cars are going to be very, very tightly packed together. And yeah, we're going to see quite a lot of action coming up ahead. The lights just flicked on there, so it's going to be a very interesting sight to behold as they go over the crest through there. This will be an evening race, temperatures around the 33°C mark. So a little bit slippery for the drivers down there on the track, but otherwise very, very good conditions for racing. And hopefully we'll see some nice clean action. This is our SRE hosted Friday practice session. Although despite it being a Friday practice session, there will be also a qualifying and a practice race to get everyone's eye in preparation for the upcoming Adrenaline Impact Invitational V8 Supercar Challenge race coming up on Sunday. So do stay tuned to Adrenaline Impact for more details on that. Meanwhile, we track Jezrin Jali in the SRE liveried Commodore there. There's some cars getting really sideways coming out of that corner. That's been the real trick, really the trickiest part of the course. Yeah, it's really deceptive because you're coming out of a hairpin and you think, well, you can go pretty much flat out through there, but well, sometimes you end up on top of the hill. I used to remember when back in my F1 Challenge days, when we used to run the old, not the old Zandvoort circuit, I'm trying to remember the South African track, the old Kyalami circuit. And there's a section there that's literally called Clubhouse Bend. Very, very high speed, and there's a bank outside instead of a hill. And the amount of Formula One cars you used to see parked on top of that hill at the end of his race was hilarious. So anyways, the voice you hear on the other end there is Carol Alan, our director, who's setting everything up. We're also doing a bit of a practice run before the big race coming this Sunday, so do stay tuned to Adrenaline Impact. That will be coming up. I believe the race starts at 10?
9:30 for the server will start 9:30.
Yeah.
So after the Ramadan, we shifted the schedules half an hour early.
Alright.
So we're standardizing it for 1 hour practice. Starts from 9:30 and on 10:30 they will start qualifying for 15 minutes.
Alrighty.
And after that we have a 45-minute race with a compulsory stop.
Stop.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a slightly easier time for the guys to come in and enter the races and do all the rest of that, because obviously people are starting to thankfully flow back into the working environment bit by bit. But I do have to remind everyone that we're still under conditional MCO at the moment, so hopefully everyone is staying at home as much as they can when they're not at work, and for sure stay safe and stay healthy out there. So yeah, hopefully we'll be out there for a lot longer. I spy Muhammad Kamaruddin down there in 15th position.
Let's see what's Michael up to.
Hopefully he'll be joining us for a little bit of fun there. He just can't help himself. He had to go out and have a bit of a run through the
I thought he removed his steering today.
Well, that's the thing. He sent us a picture showing that he's moved his steering wheel somewhere else, or he's removed his steering wheel from the rig. But obviously he's put it back.
Tak tahan weh, tak tahan.
Yeah. Sometimes the need to race outweighs the need to have any sort of space in your room. Or maybe he's moved to a new room because he's built an extension to his house, so hopefully he'll have quite a nice sim racing den in the near future. Meanwhile, we have Ajib Pro Touch tuning himself in the other Holden Commodore. I must say,
is it the old one or the new one?
This is the old one.
Okay. So there's two Commodores and two Ford. One of them is Mustang and one of them is Falcon, right?
Yeah.
Commodores, there are two versions, right?
Yeah, so basically the newer version, right now we're watching the older version, which is the old V8 rear-wheel drive, well, V6 and V8 rear-wheel drive car.
And let's see Melvin, I think he's driving the new one.
Yeah, Melvin's driving the newer one. Now this is actually based on a front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, four-cylinder or V6 powered car. But obviously in V8 supercars, everyone runs a V8 engine rear-wheel drive chassis. In fact, it's the same chassis no matter if it's a Ford, Holden or Nissan, or even Volvo at one point were involved. And yeah, everybody runs the same chassis, so the powertrain configuration and everything else is identical. In fact, back in the days of the Chaos City Grand Prix, when I was working on the Formula Masters cars, back in the day, we had a joint demonstration event with these guys, and there was one of the engineers were telling me that they could convert a Ford into a Holden or vice versa in under 5 hours. So that goes to show you how much of a kit car these cars really are. They're definitely designed to race right from the ground up, but they do have a lot of standard bodywork components, obviously adjusted to fit the rules. So a very, very interesting type of car. It's sort of halfway between a standard touring car like you see at the track in real life in MSF or MCS, and sort of halfway between that and a full-on NASCAR stock car, which has virtually nothing to do with a road car. So there we go, Azrael Nasli, who's in the very nice-looking streamed-up My livery car. as we go on board with a lap on board with Azrael Nazdi. Now we're going to head up into the first corner of about 240 to 250 kilometers an hour. Deep dive into turn one, and as you can see, the exit of turn one is very, very difficult indeed to get right. It's a corner that opens and tightens up again, so you have to really watch yourself. Then coming into turn two, very, very tricky braking
Yeah,
point.
everybody's out. So
Okay,
we're preparing for qualifying.
yeah, we'll head into qualifying. Hopefully we'll try and get you guys a lap on board there as well, but this is Summit Point Raceway. It's 3.2 kilometers long, track temperature 33 degrees Celsius. Not a lot of altitude change, really, only in the front stretch. It's down in Washington, D.C., near the capital, and fantastic place for motor racing indeed. It was started in 1969. The first race there was won by an Alfa Romeo, and it's a SCCA venue, so you see a lot of SCCA and ARCA stock car racing around here. Definitely a real clubman circuit, although they have had IMSA racing here in the past as well. So Summit Point Raceway, perhaps not as famous as Spa or Monza, but it has been around for a long time, and it definitely a historic circuit in a historic part of the country of the United States. Looks like Azrael Leslie there just doing a bit of a burnout. Meanwhile, the Cypher Riffin getting cut very sideways indeed. When the car's on cold tires, you definitely feel the car sliding around quite a bit. Coming into these S's here, very, very tight. Around the little... still trying to look at my notes here. Around the top half of the circuit, the top corner of the circuit, and down through there, that's the main rise and fall of the circuit there on the back stretch and into the front straightaway. Very, very fast final corner there. They've got to really use as much of the road as possible, but if they go too wide, as you saw there with Cypher Riffin, it's very easy to have the car completely off the road. So anyways, we go on board with Cypher Riffin for a lap around here, 250 kilometers an hour plus coming into turn one. Have to be very, very careful around their early apex, which is very, very awkward to try and get right. And again, the turn two, the opening up of turn one, very, very tricky indeed. Turn two is a real high commitment corner. You have to get the line right, otherwise you can be in the gravel trap and be in real deep trouble. And now we're coming into the S's here. Hard on the brakes, really go right down through the gearbox, down to about 75 kilometers an hour. Then into the carousel. You've got to watch the understeer coming out through here. Early part of the corner, you're going to have a lot of understeer. Now you're going to watch the oversteer on the exit through here. Through the final part of the S's, these are really tricky to try and get right. You have to try and accelerate all the way through there. And now onto the back straight. And now into the final corner, very, very fast. He's got to use every single inch of the road. You're going to see him go over the curb there and almost completely off the road there to try and get a fast lap time. And we'll wait for the lap time to come up there, and it's quickest 1:11.579. So far, they're 3 minutes into this 10-minute session. Cypher Riffin is on provisional pole, followed by Afizul Azhar, Samer, Hanapia, Calvin Ha, Sharon Norfudin, Michael there in 6th position, followed by Zafri Azrael and Malvinderjit Singh. So that's Zafri there, Ajib to his mates. He's doing quite well indeed. I think is he still on his VR rig, you know?
I think so.
Yeah, so he's got a definitely, well, I wouldn't say a little bit of an advantage, but definitely a lot more immersion coming into that cockpit there, because that's one of the most exciting kind of sim racing you can get. Sim racing with a VR set, it's pretty awesome. But it looks like Saiful Arifin is coming in for a pit. He might have a quick change of tyre or adjustment to his car before he goes out and tries to claim a pole position. Malvinderjit Singh is in second position. He's gone up the field. He's only a tenth behind Saiful Arifin. That's less than a blink of an eye. These guys are very, very close together. Right now, Shara Norafuddin, another one of our real racing drivers. We have a mix of real life racing drivers and sim racing aliens as well. A real good mix of talented sim racers as well as talented real life racers who've picked up sim racing throughout this current MCO period. There's a nice bit of variety in the course at the moment right now. I've got to adjust myself now. There we go. So now we track in fourth position Sharel Norafuddin. We'll try and improve his lap time. Like I said, it's very much a case of driver preference more than anything else, whether you prefer the older or the newer cars. The older cars definitely a little bit more agile than the new cars, but the new cars have so much stability and better change of directions from one corner to the next. So it's just a little bit more of a refined platform. But as you can see from the lap times, Malvinderjit Singh in the new car, Saiful Arifin in the old car, and there is a little bit of a difference, but not that much indeed. So now we start to see the lap times come in. Mohammed Mohaimin there in third. Calvin Ha is just coming around to try and set a representative lap time. As you can see, cars strewn all over the track. They sort of give up after the first corner and park it on the side of the road there. It's quicker for them to pit in if they have the option to. It's quicker for them to literally pull off to the side of the road, hit escape, and pit in that way than to try and do a cool-down lap. Just sim racing things, really. Cheryl Northwoodin gets a 113.093, so he will not improve. Calvin Ha, however, does improve with a 113.492. As we saw in practice earlier on, a 110 is the time to have, if at all possible. So Samirizan there in the Rab Pro Drag Machine, 404. He's 112.664. He's in the 112s bracket, which is the most populous bracket so far. There's positions 4 to 7 are separated only by about half a second. But here's one of the tricky parts of driving around Summit Point is the traffic. Trying to deal with traffic, especially in qualifying, is going to be very difficult indeed. As you can see, Samirizan has to sort of pick his way around the cars to try and get a good lap time. It's very, very important to try and have as much clear track in front of you as possible. It's timing yourself coming out of the pits and trying to shuffle yourself into a position where there is no traffic in front of you, at least for the duration of your flying lap. There's only 2 minutes to go, so we'll see 1, maybe 2 laps from the guys. It's going to be, about two laps from the front runners who are currently out on the track already. Seth Burfin still 111.579, still a tenth faster than Malvinderjit Singh, with Mohammed Mohaimin there about 300ths of a second faster. He's just gone quicker, but not quick enough to get second position. So first position, Saiful Arifin, followed by Malvinderjit Singh, Mohammed Mohaimin, and Afizul Azra, Sarun Arfuddin, Mohammed Zafri, Samir Harnapia, Azrul Nazmi, Kavin Ha, Mohammed Kamaruddin, and Jezrin Jali. So we're going to watch Michael there, just go through the course there. Azrul Nazli in the stream.my holding Commodore. The previous gen Commodore there, he's just locking the inside wheel there just a little bit. That's thrown him offline a little bit going through that, the entry into the twisty S's there. Now coming out of the slow section into the back stretch. Azrael Nasli will be looking to try and improve his position from 8th position. He looks to be going fairly quick indeed. Ooh, he's just been balked a little bit by traffic on the exit of the lap there. That might be all over him when it comes to lap times. Yeah. So he probably could have been quicker there, but that is the trouble with trying to look for a way around the traffic. He's pushing the front end of that car very, very hard indeed. You can see the lockups coming into the corner there. Meanwhile, Shamir Aizan there has just gone faster, 1:12.397. As qualifying session is over, the top two were in the pits already. Mohammed Mohaimin there out. Is he on a flying lap? I don't think so. I think he's backing off a little bit there. Doesn't look to be going as quickly. He is our only Mustang driver so far. So we've had a couple of Ford Falcons, but this is a full-on Ford Mustang two-door. The first two-door in V8 supercar racing since about 1992, when the monstrous GTR supercars, Nissan Skyline GTRs, first made their name in Bathurst racing and endurance racing in Australia in general. So he's going to stop on the grid there. So it's Saiful Arifin from Malvinderjit Singh, Mohammed Mohaimin, Fizul Azhar, Shamir Hanapia, Sharon Rafuddin, Mohammed Zafri, Azrael Nazli, Calvin Ha, Mohammed Hafiz, Michael Kamaruddin, and Jezrin Jali there in 11th. So we'll have a quick look at the grid fairly shortly. As you can see in the rolling hills around Summit Point Raceway here, absolutely fantastic scenery. As you can see, just another look at the grid there. Saiful Arifin, 8.03 seconds in front of Malvinderjit Singh. That was how close it was at the end. So Saiful Arifin from Melvin there. Mohammed Mohaimin in 3rd position, followed by Afisul Azhar. Samir Hanapia in 5th, followed by Sharon Rafuddin, Mohammed Zafri, Azrael Nazli, Calvin Ha, Mohammed Hafiz, Kamaruddin, Jezrin Jali, and Ilham Halabi there down in 12th position. As we are about to go racing through here today, and behind Ilham Halabi is Hanazul Elizam, Tamizi Yusuf, Rashid Raidel, Shami Azri, and Jasri Junos. So 17 cars about to line up on the grid. We're about to go green as soon as all these guys are gridded up. We're just waiting on a few cars, Samir Hanapia, and a couple of other cars still to grid up. I think it's Samir. Waiting and ready to go. It's an evening race, so we see all the cars with their lights.
It will be a relatively short race for 20 minutes.
Yeah, so this will definitely be more of a sprint race. 20 minutes to go. The 5 red lights go off and they're away. Saiful Arifin has a fantastic start there, but there's a real bog down there in 6th position. Samir Hanafia goes off, and it looks like Malvinderjit Singh has speared off. There's been a crash in the back as well. Malvinderjit Singh has been pushed off. Tamizi Yusuf and Rashid Raidel also in the wars there, but Saiful Arifin now in the lead, with Mohammed Mohaimin taking 2nd position from Afizul Azhar. So there's been drama as the 2nd place man, Malvinderjit Singh, was speared off from the grid and into the trees there. That's a very frightening looking accident. But right now we're tracking Mohammed Zafri there coming into the corner. A very tight circuit through here, and he's gone off. It looks like one of the cars there has gone off into the twisty section. Going through the S's here on cold tyres, it can be very difficult to get the car right. Calvin Ha gets really sideways through there, and it looks like Michael almost collects them. Very tricky indeed. Saran Rafuddin managed to escape some of the carnage, although not all. Meanwhile, Mohammed Mohimin has managed to get himself into second position in the brand new Mustang there. He is running the Shane Van Gisberg DJR Team Penske livery, as he did, I believe, in the previous race, but there's chopping and changing all over the field there. Several drivers have gone into the field, into the pits. Meanwhile, Mohammed Mohimin really right up behind Saiful Arifin, only half a second. He's in the danger zone, is Saiful Arifin. To be very, very careful here because Mohimin has a chance to overtake. This is definitely a pretty good drafting circuit. So if they could get themselves into that position, that would be absolutely definitely a danger for overtaking. Mohammed Zafri there in fourth position. He's definitely gained a lot of positions from the start. That's the key with starting, especially on a narrow track like this. You have to really keep the nose of the car clean. Now, pulling through, Mohammed Mohimin has gained 2/10 through the S's. This is going to be very, very close indeed, coming down into the final corner. And it looks like Saiful Arifin has gone very, very wide indeed. That gives an opportunity for Mohammed Mohimin to take an easy pass into the lead. Now, that's going to be really tricky for Saiful Arifin to try and gain back that time. You can see he's losing quite a bit of time now. He's perhaps still got a little bit of debris on the tyres. Now, these cars have full-on tyre effects and tyre modelling, so they do have to watch their tyre wear, and even in a 20-minute race, which is really considered a sprint race in circuit racing terms, they really have to watch the cars quite well indeed. It looks like another car there outbraking himself into turn one, but Calvin Ha is now following Malvinjit Singh, who had that accident off at the start of the race there. Got punted off and sent into the trees there. A rather frightening looking incident. But there we see Calvin Ha trying to catch Melvin. Melvin is trying to catch the car ahead of him, but the car ahead of him is 10 seconds ahead. Calvin Ha has, unfortunately, just fallen off, and there's a big crash there as Calvin tries to get onto the track. Unfortunately, he just simply did not see Jesrin Jali there. Absolutely got wiped out. Calvin Ha just ran a little bit wide at the carousel section there, and while trying to jump back into the field, it looks like he's hit Ilham Halabi, which is a real pity for Ilham. He's very quick in these V8 supercars, and now he's got a bit of damage, so he's going to have to struggle with that a little bit. Meanwhile, Afisul Azhar is right on the back of Jesrin Jali. The whole field is sort of bunching up now. But Afisul looks like he's got a little bit of damage on his car there. He's going to have to really nurse the car to get it back home. This is lap 4, and we've had action all the way up and down the field. This is absolutely amazing. In 10th place, Afisul Azhar tries to get a little bit of an advantage. You can see he's pushing the car as hard as he can. He's going over the curbs, pushing the car as much as he can. We've already have 4 drivers who've had to visit the pits there. Meanwhile, Ilham Halabi is in 8th position, trying to catch, and he's passed 2 drivers there, Jesrin Jali and Sharil Rafuddin, who I believe Sharil has just fallen off the track there. So that's another driver that's been taken unaware by that carousel corner up at the very top of the track. It's turning out to be a very tricky corner to master in the pressure of racing. Meanwhile, Azril Nazli there in the Stream.my Commodore is coming up to the back of Tamizi Yusuf in the Interformula livery car. Tamizi is, I believe, a lap down right now, so he'll be looking to try and move aside. But Azril Nazli had a fantastic start, so did Mohammed Zafri, aka Hajib. A real good start from those two. But Mohammed Mohimin, in the opening stages of this race, managing to go from 3rd position right up into the 1st place. Saiful Arifin now is starting to catch back up again, however. There's 0.3 of a second there. They are playing a high-speed game of chess right now, because obviously when Saiful is in the slipstream of the car in front, he can catch up. but the same goes for Mohammed Mohamed as well. But Mohamed still leads the race there. He's half a second ahead of Saiful Arifin. Will Saiful Arifin be able to catch up with Mohamed? Saiful really pushing as hard as he can. He's very experienced sim racer, so he'll be able to look for the gaps and try and fight with him. But it does look like his car's got a little bit more understeer than Mohamed's. So through the first part of the lap, they definitely lose quite a bit of time. The old Commodores definitely look like they lose quite a bit of time to the newer cars, but through the back section where they can thunder off with their comparatively less drag compared to the new cars. The new cars generate a little bit more downforce, but a little bit more drag as well. So it looks like they'll be able to fight their way through there. Sharon Orfudin right now is trying his hardest in the Reb Pro Garage, car number 378. And he's another one of the real-life racing drivers we have on the field there, along with Hafiz Karuddin and a few of the other guys up there. Now we have Ilham Halabi. You can see the amount of damage on the front end of the car. There was damage that was sustained when Calvin Ha rejoined the track and unfortunately collected Halabi's the front end of Ilham's car. But now he's got the car, he's gotten used to the aerodynamic effects of that. He's getting closer and closer to the car in front. Melvinajit Singh, who had that awful incident coming off the start-finish line, barely got halfway down the straight before he was speared off into the trees. So now Ilham Halabi has him in his sights. There's only 0.7 of a second between them, so it's getting to the point where the closer they come, the more laps they run, the closer Ilham Halabi gets to Melvin. So Melvin's got to really watch out for him now. It's now half a second through there. He's definitely a lot quicker. Ilham's a lot quicker through the tight and twisty sections. He's definitely got the car set up nice for the carousel section up at the top of the track now. There's only 0.1 of a second between them, 1 or 2 tenths. That's less than a blink of an eye. Now they're really getting close together, and there's a slipstream effect as well from the lapped car ahead. So Ilham Halabi will try and catch Melvin down the end of this straight. If not, he'll be able to find an opportunity, I'm sure, further up the field. Meanwhile, they're going to watch themselves through there as another car has fallen off the road there. I believe that was Azrul Nazli, who misjudged his braking zone just a touch. But now Melvinajit Singh has caught up with Ajeb, so Melvin is right behind Ajeb there. Mohammad Zafri is in 4th position, being pursued very closely by Melvinajit Singh and Ilham Halabi. Azrul Nazli is a little bit further behind, being pursued himself by Jezrin Jali, so it looked like we're going to have a big battle for 4th position. These guys will try and fight for every single position they can get. Meanwhile, Mohammed Mohamed is in the lead by a mere second from Saifur Arifin and Samir Hanapia. Whew. It's a third of the race to go, and that's been action all the way through there, but it looks like Melvin is trying to go for an overtake and manages to get Ajib through, and Ilham Halabi follows Melvin right through there. That was a double overtake, so Mohammad Zafri will really have to concentrate now and try and get those positions back. There's only half a second separating 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. The cars are definitely nose to tail going through there. About 3 seconds by my eye cover the entire group, middle group of the race right now. It looks like they're bumping and barging through there. Absolutely fantastic. Classic touring car racing under the lights here at Summit Point. Mohammad Zafri now will be trying to gain back the time that he lost to Ilham Halabi, but Ilham Halabi looks like his car is absolutely going hammer and tongs. He's really pushing the car hard to try and get away from the chasing pack. Meanwhile, Melvinajit Singh is trying to overtake Zafri. So it's between Melvin and Ajeb right now. There's barely any space between those two cars. It's definitely in the slipstream zone. All 4 cars are in fact in the slipstream zone.
Let's rewind what happened to the leaders.
All right, we'll have a quick look at the replay right now, and oh dear, it looks like Mohammed Mohamed had a big spin, which let Saiful Arifin and another car through into the lead there. We're not too sure what happened at the start of that incident, but it looks like Mohamed was in a spin or either pitched into a spin. We're not too sure, but it looks like Saiful Arifin has now managed to get back into the lead.
Let's rewind and see what happened.
Yeah, we'll try and have a look at the cause of the accident through turn 2 there. I think it started ways around turn 1. Oh, it looks like Mohamed just lost it on the brakes.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate. He was definitely pushing as hard as he can to try and maintain a lead and maintain a gap to Saiful Arifin, but he's just pushed the car a little bit too hard, and now Samir Harnapia is in the lead. Shamir Aizan is in the lead, followed by Saiful Arifin. They are fighting, but it looks like Saiful Arifin's being bogged down a little bit by Junos, the lap car ahead. He's pushing as hard as he can to try and catch up with Shamir Hanapia, who's managed to overtake Saiful. But that's some dramatic lead change so far. Meanwhile, you can see the battle further down. Ilham Labi and Movinijit Singh has definitely managed to put himself into the lead there. But Mohammed Mohamed is now back in second position, so everything is out come out of the shake there, as they say. And out of the shuffle comes Mohammed Mohamed, who's lost a place from Saiful Arifin, but it looks like Mohamed has a lot of pace in that newer Ford Mustang compared to the Holden Commodore of Saiful Arifin.
Let's see what's going on with Jazrin.
Alright, so we're going to see Jazrin Jali is currently right now in a very precarious position. He's fairly close to the car in front of him, but also in danger from behind. So Jazrin Jali is chasing the car in front whilst trying to defend as well. We have another slipstream battle coming into the far start, finish straight there. But it looks like Jazrin's gone a little bit wide. Samir Hanapia is right next to him. Samir Nasli is, yep, they're both side by side, and it looks like Shamir has managed to get past Jazrin Jali. Azril Nasli is right behind, so he's got to watch out for that as well. But Azril Nasli and Mohammed Zafri are both fighting it out coming into turn 1. Meanwhile, Jazrin Jali is beginning to try and pull away as much as he can. Azril Nasli, Mohammed Zafri, Movinijit Singh, that entire group has been turned onto its head. They're definitely chopping and changing positions. It looks like many times a lap. It looks like traffic is beginning to play a part in this race as well as the sun goes down. And this is real endurance style racing with the nighttime conditions there. The track cools off, the grip levels go up, but the visibility goes down, so it's going to get a little bit difficult to try and maintain your concentration and maintain your braking points. Meanwhile, Mohammed Zafri, Azril Nasli and Movinijit Singh are in that tight pack, 6th, 7th and 8th. Melvin hasn't really gotten a fantastic race in. He went from second position right to the back, then back up to 4th, and now he's dropped back down again to 8th. It's a real up and down race for him. He's right now trying to find a way past Mohammed Zafri, who's getting closer and closer. Will he be able to make it through turn 2? It looks like he's going to stay behind him through turn 2. He'll try and get a slipstream coming up into the S's and into the carousel. Will he be able to go for another move? No, but there's a car behind him. Hanuzul Alizam, I believe, yeah. Really very, very close, this group of cars here. But now Zafri's got to really look out, because coming out of the top S's here, going onto the back stretch, Melvin has a relatively good shot at trying to get a slipstream, but it looks like Zafri has managed to run away with it and just be quick enough, just that little bit quicker than Melvin to try and run away. Meanwhile, Muhammad Mohimin and Saifur Arifin are still battling it out. Looks like there is Azhar in between them, which is lap traffic. So Mohimin really doesn't want to stay behind the lap traffic too much. We want to try and find a way past as soon as possible. But it's very tricky to try and get past.
Oh!
And it looks like Saiful Arifin had a problem there. It looked like he overcorrected the car and slid right off the road. That's just handed the race lead to Muhammad Mohimin. Saiful Arifin has dropped down. That is a disaster for Saiful Arifin there. 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars past him. And he's gone from the lead right down to 5th position. That is a disaster. One small mistake and you're out in this track. It's a very unforgiving place. Not a lot of tarmac runoff indeed. But right now, Muhammad Mohimin is still trying to get past Hafizul Azhar. He's trying to go as far away as he can. He's going to get him through the braking zone into the first turn there. Now it's a case of trying to, as we just go past the midpoint of the race, it's now lap 15. We'll probably get up to lap 27 or 28 in this race. But Muhammad Mohimin right now will try his hardest to try and get as far away from this, the chasing pack. Ilham Halabi followed by Samir Harnapia. Jazrin Jali, Saiful Arifin is in the back trying to push as hard as he can to catch him back up. So we've got a clear leader 5 seconds ahead of the chasing group here, which is 2nd place right down to 5th. And then another group further back with Melvin, Mohamed Zafri and Hanuzul Adizam relatively close together. But this is a truly train developing. Jazrin Jali is, Ilham Halabi is up ahead there, followed by Shami Hanapia, Jazrin Jali and Saiful Arifin. So Saiful Arifin is at the back of the queue. He's going to try and see if he can pick off at least 2 or 3 of these guys. I know he'll want to try his hardest to get back into at least 2nd position, but the time is running out. The clock is running down. Jazrin Jali there is in the slipstream. He's going to try and pull out, but thinks better than to try and overtake Samir. Jazrin knows that Samir is struggling a little bit. You can see the car getting absolutely crossed up coming out of the first hairpin. Now Samir has no rear wing. He's got an aero disadvantage right now, so Jazrin Jali will just have to bide his time and make sure he can get past. Ilham Halabi is now in the lead of that pack, but he's going to have to try and push as hard as he can to try and gain a gap, because right now it's still close, it's still within a second, and once you're within a second of someone, especially on a long straight, and we've got 2 long straights back to back here, it is possible to try and gain a little bit of a toe, especially as the car behind him has less downforce than the rest of the field, so there might be a bit of an advantage. But now positions 4, 5 and 6 are very, very close to each other. 3, 4 and 5, but they are nose to tail going into turn 1. Will someone go for it? It's going to be a high risk move as the cars are very, very close to each other. Will we see a outbraking maneuver? We won't. Ilham Halabi is trying to pull away, but it looks like it's not working because all the cars behind him have managed to catch him. Now he's in a really, really difficult position. If he is not careful, he might lose 1 or more positions through a mistake. We saw how devastating the mistake was to Saiful Arifin, who was in the lead quite comfortably until he messed up here at the little carousel section we've got going here. Now Shamir Hanapia is in 3rd position with a real damaged car. It's amazing that he's still getting the lap times he can out of that in 3rd position. He wants that podium position as much as anyone else. It's 9 minutes to go in the race, 17 laps run. Have about I would say 8 or 9 laps remaining in the race, so perhaps to lap 25 or 26. Now Samarizan goes for the Safarifin goes for the Jezrin Jali goes for the overtake there. I
It's
can't
hard to
actually
see
tell which
in
car's
the
which
dark.
right now
I
because
guess
of
it's
the
hard to
lighting.
see there. I guess we're going to set the race for daytime, right?
Or at least a couple of hours earlier, anyways. No,
So
normally in an
this is
endurance
a
race, which
great
is
four-way battle.
yeah, I can barely keep up myself right now. So Jezrin Jali is now in third position. Ahead of him is Ilham Halabi. Behind him is Samir Hanapia. Behind him is Saiful Arifin. They're all within a second of each other, a second and a half of each other. And right now, Azha is ahead of them.
Back
He's
marker.
he's a back marker right now. He's not moving out the way, which will present a real challenge for all these guys. So all these guys are going to be basically running nose to tail. A phenomenon we used to see in Formula One back in the mid 2000s. They used to call it the Trulli train because Giano Trulli was always the man at the very head of it. But meanwhile, Ilham Halabi goes for the lap, goes to lap the opponent, and also manages to defend from Jezrin Jali. Samir Hanapia going a little bit wide there. Does that give Saiful Rifin perhaps a chance to try and get past? And it looks like Ilham Halabi and Jezrin Jali has managed to put that back marker in between themselves and Saiful and Melvin. So, sorry, Samir and Saiful. Melvin Singh is a few laps back, and it looks like Samir Hanapia just ran out of patience a little bit, punted the offending lapped car out of the way. I must admit that was perhaps a touch rude, but a little bit funny at the same time. That's one way to lap a car. We don't recommend it, but well, there you go. Meanwhile, Saiful Rifin is right behind Shamir Hanapia. You can see why they were so desperate to get past the back marker, because once it gets stuck behind a back marker, the cars ahead can sort of try and run away with it. But right now, it's hundredths of a second, nose to tail between Saiful Rifin and Samir Hanapia. Will they be able to make the overtaking maneuver stick? Not quite. So that was almost an overtaking maneuver there, but they're still side by side. Saiful Rifin is going to come into turn 2 on the outside. Will he be able to make it stick? No, he has to give the position away to Samir Hanapia. Saiful Rifin now is going to try and live with the pace that Shamir has through the twistier top section of the circuit. But there's been a bit of a mistake there. Shamir had to really fight the car, try and get through that corner there. The car was all crossed up in all sorts of directions, and if it wasn't for the racetrack being so narrow, I believe that Saiful Rifin would have been able to get past. Meanwhile, Jezrin Jali is getting closer and closer to Ilham Halabi. This is the battle for the podium position, second and third. They're coming up against lap traffic as well. Calvin Ha up ahead in the 778 car. So Jezrin Jali, will he use the back marker to his advantage? He's boxed. Yes, he's boxed Ilham Halabi in, and he's managed to get that overtaking maneuver done, and still managed to slide his way behind the back marker car of Calvin there. It's happening all over the field right now. This is absolutely fantastic racing. Meanwhile, Muhammad Mohamed, who lost the lead through an incident in turn 1 where he outbraked himself, has managed to regain the lead and is now 5.8 seconds ahead with 5 minutes to go from Jezrin Jali and Ilham Halabi, with Shamir Hanapia, Saiful Rifin and Melvinderjit Singh there in 6th position, 8 seconds behind this group of cars up ahead. So now it's Jezrin Jali, Ilham Halabi, and the other cars are getting closer and closer. They have to try and find a way past Calvin Ha. Calvin pulls into the inside of the track there to try and get the cars past, but it doesn't seem to be working. There's a real bottleneck now starting to accrue. Now Calvin has to get has to either move over or maintain his line and let the other car through. Jezrin Jali manages to lap Calvin Haar there, and will Ilham Halabi manage to get past as well? Yes, he does. In fact, Calvin decides to let all the cars go past there, which is rather a wise move, but it does mean that these 4 cars are now back together again, and coming up to the end of the race here, another 3 or 4 more laps, maybe 5 laps if we're lucky, and this group of cars are getting right very close to each other. We can have quite a lot of position changes for the podium positions. All the drivers here will be trying to fight as hard as they can. Oof, there's a big incident there. Jezrin Jelly had basically ran into the back of the car and hit that back marker, and that caused a bit of a commotion for the cars behind. It looks like Samir Hanapia manages to get past Jezrin Jelly. Saiful Urfin does the same as well. That's very unfortunate. It looked like a lapped car there got into the fight. This is going to be a very difficult situation for all the drivers to try and keep their cool. Dicing it with lap traffic, it's going to be quite the challenge to try and get the positions in. Ilham Halabi is still in 2nd position. Muhammad Mohamed is well up the road now, almost 10 seconds ahead. That's what the lap traffic is doing now. Right now it's a battle for 2nd position. If Muhammad Mohamed can keep the car on the road, he's pretty much guaranteed that win, but don't really want to give him the commentator's curse too soon, knock on wood. But Samir Hanapia is now into the lead of that group. Despite having a damaged car, he's managed to get past Ilham Halabi. Saiful Harifin is in 4th position there, but it looks like Ilham Halabi will try and get as close to Samir Hanapia and try and do that overtaking maneuver again. But yeah, there's quite a lot of damage in this group of people. That's how close they were together. They were touching nose to tail through the top corner, through there, the carousel. Meanwhile, we look on board with Jezrin Jelly, who's gone from the front of the pack to the back of the pack. But that right there is how close everyone is. Saiful Urfin and Ilham Halabi and Samir Hanapia are side by side. Will Ilham Halabi be able to go around the outside? He manages to make it stick. That's amazing. Meanwhile, Jezrin Jelly is side by side with Saiful Urfin. This is absolutely fantastic motor racing, ladies and gentlemen. Another 2 more, almost 1 more minute to go. They're going to have to really try and push hard to get to the end of the lap. Muhammad Mohamed might trigger another lap to make it a 25-lap race. But it looks like he is well in front. Ilham Halabi, Samir Hanapia, Saiful Urfin and Jezrin Jali quicker than I can say those names. That is the position 2nd through 4th with Mavinderjit Singh being chased very closely by Mohammad Zafri further on behind. But this is a fantastic battle. The cars are chopping and changing, and they're going around, and it looks like Ilham Halabi is backed off. Or one of the cars have backed off. Ilham Halabi has gone into the pits. So he's definitely had some issue with his car. So from 4, it now goes down to 3. This is a 3-way battle for 2nd position. Jezrin Jali goes for the overtake, going into the braking zone there. He pulls out, he goes into the inside, and manages to make that move stick ahead of Saiful Urfin. Jezrin Jali now will try and push as hard as he can to try and catch up with Samir Hanapia. 0.6 of a second. He can see the car up the road there. And now with 30 minutes gone, Muhammad Mohamed is on his final lap. He's 11 seconds ahead right now, so Muhammad Mohamed will be going down into the back straight in that wonderful 2-door Ford Mustang. Absolutely fantastic looking car. Meanwhile, Samir Aizan is ahead. Samir Aizan, Muhammad Hanapia is in 2nd position, followed by Jezrin Jali and Saiful Urfin. And you can see Muhammad Mohamed is absolutely thrilled with that position, with that win. He would be very, very happy with that indeed. Meanwhile, Sami Aizan is going side by side with
Oh, photo finish.
the photo finish there. Jason Jali just managed to overtake Shamir with Saiful Arifin in fourth position, and Mohammad Zafri just managed to overtake Melvin Nijit Singh. They're still fighting out in fifth and sixth position. That was the closest finish between two positions there, but it looks like Mohammad Zafri has managed to get it from Melvin Nijit Singh. They were on the grass there, Melvin trying to get the overtaking maneuver. he was so disgusted with losing out towards the light that he decided to go for the rallycross technique when it comes to pit entry. But that was an amazing race, Mohammed Mohamed. Congratulations on winning that, and it looks like this racetrack is definitely going to be absolutely exciting racing for Sunday. Whew. Thank goodness I have some Ribena here to drink.
Okay, so can you recap what will be happening on Sunday?
So, well, what's going to happen throughout the weekend? We have the practice race right now that we've just watched with Mohamed Mohamed, the winner. Tomorrow we'll have some rallying action from the Dirt Rally 2.0 club, RaceNet club, that we're up and running. Our rally series is still ongoing. We're now in R5 cars, and do stay tuned to Adrenaline Impact for that. And also on Sunday, the main event at 9:30, servers will open for the Adrenaline Impact Invitational V8 Challenge. Same cars, same track. It's going to be absolutely amazing. As you saw, this was a fantastic race, and hopefully we're going to have an even greater, even more amazing race coming there around 9:30 p.m. On Sunday, and that's Malaysian time. So there's going to be some fantastic racing coming your way. So do stay tuned to Adrenaline Impact. And there we have the race results. Mohammad Mohamed is in fifth position, followed by Jazrin Jali, Samir Hanapia, Saifur Arifin, Mohammad Zafri, Melvin Dijit Singh, Sharil Narafuddin, Ilham Halabi, Hanazul Elizam, Sami Azri, Afizul Azhar, Tarmizi Yusuf, Calvin Ha, Rashid Raidel, Mohammad Michael Kamaruddin, Azril Nazli, and Jasri Junos. Those are your 17 finishes as listed up ahead there. And yeah. Whew, I can barely. I need to catch my breath now.
So we're done for tonight. Thank you for everyone for watching, and please do like our page and follow our news on updates on the upcoming championship we're gonna announce soon.
So yeah, we've got some very, very special announcements to make in the coming days. So do keep it tuned to Adrenaline Impact for more information. So I guess the only thing I have to do now is to thank all the SRE guys for having another wonderful hosted race as they're doing the donuts in the gravel there. The suspiciously tarmac looking tire marks in the gravel.
UFO.
But it's, yeah. So a very special thanks to Stream.my, the wonderful cloud-based streaming service and cloud-based service. So for all your cloud-based streaming services, do head over to Stream.my. A special thank you from everyone for them to come on board. We're very grateful for that. Also, a thanks to Sebology, Pico Media, Sim Racing Enthusiasts, Todak Motorsports, Interformula, and C-Zone. So, I guess it's time that we end the stream. Special thanks to our director, Carol Alang. My name's Matt Palmer, and we will see you all on Sunday.
Ta-ra!
Ta-ra!